Company is sponsored by LowTeamRealty.com. Buy low, sell high with Keller Williams, Lake Travis Marketplace, Austin, Texas. Let us refer you to an expert agent near you. Buy low, sell high with LowTeamRealty.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome. You're listening to Kimmel & Company right here on Contact Talk Radio Network. I have such wonderful guests tonight. I am so excited. If you can imagine, it is it's evening here where I am in the States, and it's the next day in the morning for our wonderful guests who are in the house from Brisbane, Australia. And we have Miss Julie and her daughter, Tash, Lewin, and they are a remarkable duo. These two are kicking some butt, I'm telling you, in the spiritual world. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and forgive me, but I have to put my glasses on. So this particular duo are change makers with a focus on shifting resistance in entrepreneurs that is preventing them from actually launching their business, their ideas, and their offers to the world. Whether this is doing an official launch or simply telling their community what they're working on, the size of the launch doesn't matter when you're sitting in relenting resistance. So Julie and Tash, they help remove these particular, I just want to say, these particular blobs. I see them as blobs. You know, I'm a medium and I see these as blockages, but they really look like brown blobs to me when I take a look at them. And so what they do is they remove them, and then you can go ahead and you can get your momentum and you get your stride and you really get to blossom. Julie has been a medical intuitive for the past 36 years and an intuitive business coach and mentor for the past 11 years. And her beautiful daughter's joining us this evening, Tash, and she's been an intuitive designer. Now that's up my alley because I am certified in feng shui. What? So I can't wait to talk to you. She's been an intuitive designer for 11 years, also a business mentor and spiritual coach for 3 years. I have to tell you something. You can't make this up. I invited you to come on the show, and I'm also an astrologer, and we are looking forward to this brand new start of the year. This new moon is coming up April 11th or April 12th, wherever you are in the world, and it is in Aries, and this is a fabulous aspect for entrepreneurs. So you can't make it up. You ladies were supposed to be here. And I'm so glad that I have a platform to highlight you here. Thank you. All of my listeners get to meet you. And I want you to share exactly, how you got into this and also the results that you're getting, because I think that's important. For your own give your own testimonies, because I think that you have quite a number of them. So welcome to the show, ladies. How are you?
Thank you. Wonderful. It's nice to be here.
Very good. I was just saying I sent Tash a quick message last night, Kimmler, and I said, you know how you get that feeling, that nervous feeling in your body when you know something amazing's about to happen? And that fits right in with the moon, doesn't it?
It really does. Like I said, you couldn't align this any better with this wonderful work that you're doing. When you are in the spiritual world and all of a sudden you start working with people and developing your own gift to share, and then all of a sudden boundaries just blow off. There aren't any boundaries anymore. And you find that you have this wonderful, this wonderful avenue that you skip down with everybody, and you are really pushing them along to find their purpose in life and to really share their own wonderful things that they're doing. So how did you go from medical mediumship? Because the last time we were on the show together, we had lots of callers and it was a wonderful show. And now you've teamed up with your daughter for this great work with entrepreneurs. So tell me about how you started working in that direction.
Well, we were together like 5 years ago, Kimla. I looked it up and I thought, wow, where did that go? And so about 4 years ago, I really started doing a lot more retreats and working with trailblazers, working with people who really had a message inside of them and they wanted to bring that to the world. So I've probably in the last few years, 50 or more, I've taken 100 people through retreat in the last 9 years, but in the last 5 years, probably the bulk of that. And so they were achieving some really extraordinary things. And Tash came on retreat with her friend 3 years ago exactly. And she already had a business and it was doing really well. And I said, come on this retreat. I think this is going to be good for you. And I said, bring your friend with you. And then they went into an incubator and they worked on a project together for a year. And then they realized that was their growth. So we initiated growth at the retreat and then they went and grew their growth tree. And Tash said to me, Mum, I don't know what it is that I want to do next. And seriously, Kimla, I'd just been waiting for an opportunity to say, come and work with me, because she'd helped me, but I could feel there was this resistance as well of, but that's your business, that's not my business. And I'd be lying if I said that we were able to integrate our dynamics in a month or even in a 6 months. It's taken us about 18 months to fully integrate the two sides of our personalities. And you know, in a business when you've got a partner, and seriously, I'd been on my own for 30 odd years. When you're in a business with somebody else, you have to actually consider if I can't just randomly make that decision without discussing it with my partner. So we both had been in business solo, and if you want to do something, you just do it. You don't have to go and ask a higher authority, can I do that thing? And so we had to learn how to be business partners, and I think we've done that really, really well. And
I mean, I think to start with, we kind of had our separate businesses and we were trying to bring those separate businesses together into one business.
Correct.
And then over the last probably 6 months, we're like, oh no, this is its whole own business that's separate from what we were doing before, that is our business, not the individual businesses within the container. And so that's actually really transformed what we do. And we really became a partnership in the last 6 months. And found our own unique way of doing things.
That's right. And Kimla, and I had to actually start saying to the inquiries, I'm not working like that anymore. Like after 35 years, that was really hard for me to I had to trust the universe that I was transitioning into another way of doing my work. And that takes courage.
what an opportunity to basically give birth to another type of avenue, but it's still spiritual, it's still intuitive, and you still are combining some of the basic formative things and just working at it in a different way. And I find this fascinating that you are taking people who are very, very serious about success, very serious about getting to the top, and really teaching them how to do it with a spiritual perspective. So do you work inside first, outside? How do you get there?
I mean, it's kind of both. So we definitely focus on it's the inner journey, like you're navigating your inner world so that your outer world reflects what you want it to reflect. Because our outer world is always reflecting back to us what's really going on, whether we want to see it or not. And so our job, I guess, in our business is to work with people who aren't seeing what's really happening, to see it more clearly. And so to go inward and to uncover the patterns that they're running, and to uncover all of the things that they kind of just squashed down a bit in their desire to get to success. And all of those start bubbling up, the more pressure you put on yourself. And so as they bubble up, then we help to skim the scum from the top of the pond. We're like, oh yeah, okay, we see what's going on there. And we help clear that. So then they can actually take the inspired action that the resistance is stopping them from doing. And
my gosh, that's fabulous.
And you know, Kimla, in your work, that when something rises to the top, you skim that off. That gives space for the deeper stuff to rise. And then you skim that off, and then something deeper comes. And if you look at a spring, it goes around and around and around. And so you're still coming back to the same wall, the same fascia, but you're on a different rung of the spring. And so it may feel like you're doing the same old, but you're actually doing it at a different depth.
Different perspective.
Different perspective.
Right.
And so
when you clear this off, when you start clearing all of this off, and I intuitively feel that you cause a healing to take place, and then you raise the frequency that they are operating on, because energy operates like this and upwards. You know, it doesn't go straight up like we think. So it does. It goes in a circular fashion. So you are doing these fabulous blockage removals and healing work with entrepreneurs. Now, I have a question, because I have a blockage, and it's a juicy one, Tash.
Okay, exciting.
Okay, so I was channeled an entire film. And it's a biography of a very successful businesswoman. And when I say I was channeled it, literally, I saw the opening credits, and I watched the whole thing, and I channeled the person that it was about, and pretty direct this person is, I'm just going to say still is. And this person said to me, well, you're definitely not going to be in it, direct it, or anything to do with it. You're just, the one to push it through. And I said, who is going to be? I have been pregnant with this for, oh my goodness, 25 years.
Wow.
Now, resistance is, no one's going to believe me that I was channeled this. Number two, I don't know how to do any of this. And I have really have tried to kind of get in the screenplay deal and kind of do this. It's never really been timed. It's never really worked out. But I literally have been told who the actors are to be and when it is to be happening. And I feel horribly guilty that I've let this person down, that I have not busted through this project.
So can I share what Tash is already getting some ideas, but I'm going to speak first because although the movie is about this person, the impact of the movie is for the people, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's not actually for that person. So the messages and the metaphors and the learnings are for the people. Right. So this movie is its own entity, not the woman.
Right.
So you're not letting the woman down. You're actually being guided by the entity of the movie, and you need to learn how to connect to the entity of the movie and separate that from the businesswoman whose story it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'll give it a try. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that perspective. That kind of brings me away from that. You know, when you're a medium and a channeler and you are literally talking to people on the other side, you do establish a very personal relationship, right? I mean, it happens, you know, it just happens. But to remove that and to look at the movie as a separate entity would kind of free me up a little bit.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. And you commune with the entity of the movie.
Aha.
And ask it what it needs. Like ask what it needs you to do right now in order for this to be birthed. And because it may actually, like you may be holding on to some guilt that's actually not yours to hold on to. And that it may actually not have been the right time for it to be born. And that the world right now is nothing like it looked like 20 years ago. And maybe the message would land way more if it was to be born now than 20 years ago. And so you've been carrying this guilt of not fulfilling your promise, but I'm not sure that they ever gave you a timeline that was like hard. They're like, no, it has to be now. And if they had, then the pieces would have fallen into place because that's how it works. And so if the pieces haven't fallen into place, then it wasn't time.
Yeah. Trust divine timing.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
And the divine timing isn't our timing. And as much as we want something desperately to happen at a certain time, if puzzle pieces need to come into play, then we're just trying to push against it. Yeah. And instead, if we just kind of like lent into the ebb of it and we're like, okay, I'm not meant to do that right this second. What do I need to do right now in order to make this happen? And we tend to live for the future. We're like, here's all of the steps that I need to take in order to get to this place. We're like, well, what if those steps don't have to happen? What if those are steps that we've mentally put in place, things that have to happen to get to that goal? But what if you could just bypass all of that? What if you're like, what if I portaled around that and I came at it from the other side? We're like, what if I could just magic my way there? What would be the easiest and quickest and most magic way for this to happen? What would I need to do? And so asking questions like that, rather than going, oh, I guess I better plod through this next step. This step has to happen. Like it has to take place. You're like, does it though? Like, does it? Like, those are things I ask myself. You're like, does it have to happen like that? And so I talk very directly with my team, and I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. I need it to work for me. What's a different way that I could do this that works more for how I work with the world? And so the entities that we work with on the other side that are like our muses, our devas, like they're there to bring things through into the world, but we are the vessel. And so it has to meet the needs of the vessel in order for it to be born, as well as what they might like to bring through. And so it's a co-creation process, not, I guess I better do whatever they want. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be co-creation, consciously co-creating with the spirits.
Right. I love that. I love that. Well, you guys just picked that right up, and
that's how we work. And our clients say to us,
and here I've been banging my head for 25 years.
How do they do what they do? And I can't explain it, they say, but we know we turn up with this and we walk out with that, and it happens in the hour. So
look, I channel it through too. Like, my channeling gets very direct, which is not necessarily how I communicate normally with the normal world. But if it's coming through, I'm like, it's coming through. I'm sorry. Like, this is for you. I don't know what it is. Here you go. Here is this platter of information I've been given for you.
I love that channeling. I do it all the time myself. I really do. I actually do. So the results that you get from your clients that you've worked with, let's hear a little bit about that.
So our one-on-one clients that come to us for, it depends. We've got some clients that have worked almost a year with us, and other ones that do it for a specific resistance that they're wanting to overcome. And that might be an 8-week program with us, and we address that specific issue. Some people just want support in their business journey, and they work with us over a long period of time. But our one-on-one work tends to get very deep. Like, it's an intensive. And so this work that we do, like, you could do it yourself, and it could take years to kind of uncover these things. But we get really deep really quickly. Unintentionally, it just happens. Like, we unravel patterns and we get to the core of what's causing that. And then we clear the core. And then they're actually able to do the thing that they didn't think that they could do. So on a big level, in their business, if they've been wanting to birth this thing for years and years, and it's being pushed, it's a big push from the back, but they're also being pushed up against this wall because there's fears, there's traumas, there's wounding from the past that's kind of been like, oh, but if I do that, this means X about me. And so we remove the things that are standing in the way in the front, so that backward movement can kind of push them through into what they're meant to be doing in the world. And that's not to say that you don't then encounter resistance after that place. Like, there's always going to be resistance, but you have tools then for being the observer of your resistance, going, oh, what's actually happening there? Like, what's under that? And so the resistance rises up, and you're like, no, that's not me as a human. That's not who I am. What is that? What's underneath that? Does that belong to me? Is that mine? Or have I taken that on from somebody else? And so once they can do that themselves, like, that's our goal, is that they have the tools to be able to self-inspect and to go, that doesn't belong to me. So then our client sessions end up being, here's all these things I observed this week about myself and what was happening. You're like, cool. Do you want to clear that? You're like, yes. And you're like, okay. And so some weeks there's not a lot to clear, and other weeks, like, it's big, it's heavy. And then we get them over that hump, and then they get to take the action that they've been craving to do amidst this frozen paralyzation of not wanting to take action. And so that's just that, brings us joy that then they're able to go bring their magic to the world in a way that they couldn't before us.
Right. So the people that are, let's say, procrastinating, or they are into self-doubt about what they're, or maybe they're just unclear about decision making, or these kinds of things. So I think it's what I'm hearing is that we're learning to be friends with our resistance.
Yes.
And we're kind of saying, okay, be my friend here. Show me what I need to do.
Yeah, so show me what I need to see. Like, what do I need to see in this so that I can do what I need to do.
Gotcha.
And you know what, Kimler, I think that the thing that our clients that work one-on-one, all of our clients actually, whether they're in a program or one-on-one, what you see here is what they see. And a lot of people throw these words out before they say something mean. Oh, no judgment, but blah, 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 blah. So it's actually quite full of judgment. And hand on my heart, I can say the thing that our clients say is, I can come to the table with you guys and I feel absolutely no judgment for whatever comes out of my mouth. And we truly don't have any judgment. And so when there's no judgment, then you can go deep. You can bring everything to the surface because our clients know that there's no judgment around that. And if there's a difficulty, then we just look through as many lenses as we need to so that we can look at it and give it a whole perspective. Like when we feel not good enough or not worthy or not deserving, it's because some of the lenses are cloudy and we can't see through. So we basically clean all the lenses for people so that they can see themselves as whole, beautiful beings that have some magic to bring to the world, and that by judging what they're bringing, that they're not actually living their purpose. So we remove the judgment, and people say they feel safe with us.
That's huge. Yeah,
it is very huge. And I think every single person that I've worked with, they say to me, I can't tell this to other people.
Right.
And I've never shared this.
I've never shared this, or I've never told this story with someone. And like where Tash and I are sitting, we hear it every day. I can't tell anyone else this. So if you wanted to know what drives me, it's that people will feel that they can share these things with the outer world, like with an extended community, that it is safe for them to share.
And that sometimes when you say something out loud, you take away its power to impact you and to stop you from doing what you need to do. So when we hold it inside, like it has this charge and it has all of the power, but as soon as you say it out loud to someone, you see it for what it really is, not what it has been whispering to you in the night. And so I feel like that's a layer of when people work with us, is that they're finally able to give voice to the secret fears, like the things that they can't tell people, but is actually what's driving them. Like it's actually causing them to make decisions that aren't necessarily the ones that they want to make. And so then we empower them to make the choices they want to make with a clear vision of who they actually are, separate from the trauma, separate from the things that wounded them and the emotions that they held onto and embedded inside of themselves. Like, that's not who you are. That's what happened to you.
Yeah.
And who you are can make different decisions.
Yeah.
And that's just been really amazing to watch people flourish when they didn't think that they could.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. That is such good work, you guys. Unbelievable. If we have anyone that would like to call in before the show ends.
Absolutely.
We would love to hear from you. And the number is 844-390-8255. If that's not the number, please correct me. But I think that's the number. Okay, I know. I've been doing this for I don't know how long. And of course, anyway, here we go. So do both of you, I know you've got a background, Julie, in the medical intuitive field and all of that. Did you ever do anything with shamans or any work like that for your clearing or your different skills at all? No.
No. This is like way back 36 years ago, when I got told that I had this gift of seeing inside of people's bodies. I lay in bed at night and I said, God, I don't know how to do this, so you have to show me how. And I promised that I would bring through whatever pure message that Source had for me. And so I haven't actually gone out to learn from other people. I've endeavored to open myself up to what Source wanted me to. So it's kind of like been this extraordinary adventure of multidimensional living. And I might see a movie, or I might see a YouTube video, or I might read a book, but I don't go and ask people to be my shaman teacher. Or what I do is I look at the world and I read quantum physics and I go, wow, so that's a thing. Okay, so if they can do it, I can do it. I just have to figure out how it works for me. And maybe that's where we have the no judgment of our clients, in that you don't have to do it anyone else's way, but we want to encourage you to find your way. Because when you find your way, then you're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And so I've kind of just gone on this journey myself and watch the movies that come in my mind and go, well, show me how you did that. And I'll have this movie showing me how to do stuff. And so if I can then do that stuff, then I'll share that with other people. And that's how I work. So no, I haven't studied under a shaman, but I love the shaman energy, but I don't really know anything about it. I'm working with a client right now who hasn't been very well, and I bless water for her. So it's part of the service that I offer. And this shaman comes in and he does this stuff with her water, and it's different every week. And my mum and dad have passed over, and so my dad created this whole apothecary of tinctures that he created on the other side. And he said, love, you'll never guess what I'm doing over here for you. I'm helping you. And now my mum's passed as well, and she's the keeper of the garden, and my dad has the tinctures, and the shaman has the whatever the shaman does, and then there's the herbs, and it changes the alchemy of the water that my client drinks. And
wow,
it's pretty, like I operate in all these different dimensions all at the same time.
Wow, so it's a family affair.
It sure is. It sure is. With
total family affair you guys got
is,
going on.
yeah,
I love it.
do.
I love it. So
I think why oh, sorry, no, you go.
no, go right ahead, Tash. Go right ahead.
I was just going to say, part of the new work that we're doing together, because really it was Mum's energy work, but maybe a month ago, I was asked by my team to create a light code for something. And I was like, because the person who does the light codes that I know wasn't taking any clients, but I need one. So what do I do? And so I asked my team, I was like, look, I need one. So you're just going to have to show me what I need to do. And so I created one for our business. And then as we were doing our client work, they were like, they need a light code. I'm like, what? I don't know how to do that. They're like, yes, you do. Let's go do it. I'm like, all right. So I created a light code and activated. I'm like, holy shit, that was really amazing. And I gave it to the client, and she's like, everything it all changed. It all just shifted a whole lot of stuff in her. And from that next day, everything kind of unraveled. Okay. cool, well, maybe I should keep doing that. So then it started us on this whole new trajectory in our business where I just listened and I allowed it. And I said, you're going to have to show me what I need to do because I don't know what to do. And so they just bring them through. And it's added a whole new dimension to the work that we do. And that's kind of, so yes, that's amazing in our business. That's kind of what we do with our clients. Like, let's just find your way. Like, what's your unique way of doing business? And what do you need to be bringing through? What are they like knocking at your spiritual door to bring through that you've been resisting? And how can we unlock that?
Yeah. So that was my question. I was going to ask you about where this is going for the future, and if you have anything new to bring in with this this new alignment, the age of Aquarius, with all of this new type of technology that's being presented through sound, through light, frequency. We're looking at everything with a frequency. I have a very, very great friend of mine who is also a client dealing with frequency and music and all of that. And I find that, Tash, your age group is the next people to kind of give birth to this new, the new light, the way that you work with light and sound. I'm sure that it's been done, millions of years ago, and we're just, relearning it. But it's all new to a lot of people. So when you talk about your team, who's your team?
So look, I don't know like specifically, they don't have like names or anything. I have my higher self, obviously always there. Sometimes there is ascended masters that come in. So that's since I started working with Mum. Ascended Master Hilarion comes through quite a lot, obviously with the healing and technology. And so, that makes sense to me afterwards. And then we work with like the individual entities within our business. So the new business that we're creating is called Light Code Lab, and it has its own entity and its own stuff that it's birthing. There's like, oh no, it needs to be done in this way. I'm like, okay. And then AreekeerA has its own entity that I work with directly. And so we're bringing that all kind of in together and marrying all of the, I guess, the desires from the other side, the entities that we're working with, and kind of bringing that all in together. And I guess because I speak directly with them, I'm like, okay, what do you need from me? Like, I am your vessel. What do you need from me? Also, that needs to work for my physical body, because as we're bringing through higher and higher frequency, like I keep having to upgrade my physical body because otherwise it kind of just breaks down a little bit. I'm like, no, I'm not having that. What do I need to do next? And so then we bring through new things that kind of upgrade the physical vessel so that we can bring through higher frequency. And so that's a lot of our work has absolutely been working with frequency, and that our clients, like we kind of, mostly for us so that we can track the progress, but we're able to, what's the word, Mum, with the frequency, like calibrate their frequency, and to see as we kind of shed all of the stuff that's no longer serving, their frequency goes up. And then we bring through new patterns, like with the light codes, to work with those new frequencies. Like, I actually feel like that's what we've been doing, because our clients' frequency rises so much that they need new patterns, like new light codes to work with that frequency. And so it's kind of just evolved as we did things, like as we experimented in our business and we worked with new clients, our business grew kind of naturally from that.
Yes, absolutely. Now, she was talking about your concept, Julie, that you had AreekeerA.
Yes,
that we talked about many years ago. Would you tell us about that again?
Yes, so AreekeerA is the name that I was given for my body of work that I started bringing through 36 years ago. and I had an experience where I was getting these really intense headaches for like 8, 9, 10 days. And I now know that that was download. As soon as I'd say, oh, is this a download? The headaches would stop. So it was me having a human resistance to the download. And so basically the ceiling disappeared. I had my eyes open and I was looking into the void of the universe, and all these gold symbols were coming down into my body. And when the last symbol landed, the headache was gone. And I said, what's that? And the voice said, that's AreekeerA. I said, well, what does that mean? And the voice said, well, it's the alignment of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And I said, surely that's not enough. So then the voice said, all right then, AreekeerA. So making it a palindrome, like the infinity symbol, really. And I said, okay. So I Googled it and saw that it was, the spelling they gave me was very similar to the Native American Pawnee tribe. I said, you can't give me a name that's the name of a people. And then it was like the walls breathed out and they breathed in, and they said, all right, change I to double E. And I went, oh, okay. So I Googled that and there was zero evidence of that word. So I said, okay, I'm happy with that. And that movie in my mind that I was saying earlier, they're actually, when I connect into a person and I run that movie, things happen in their body that feel like a miracle. So over the years of working with people, I call those templates because they're repeatable. And in 2014, I had my work accredited as a healing modality. And so now I'm accrediting practitioners and facilitators in my work. And I've got one of my graduates is actually teaching it in a corporate setting where there's 650 staff. From the CEO down to the tea lady, they all know about AreekeerA, and they say, oh, my water's smooth today, my flowers are straight. And so that's just one of my templates, and they know it and they use it, and it helps them manage their stress. So AreekeerA last year, it obviously wants to get into the world. But when I first started teaching at Kimla, I was trying to download in 3 days 30 years of work. And I was just frying people's brains with the templates. So last year I thought, I know, I'll run a workshop for 3 days and I'll only teach 12 in 3 days, not 50 things in 3 days. And afterwards, I found that people only remembered 2 or 3. So I said to that group of people, let's do it all again, but we'll do it differently. We'll learn 2 a week over 6 weeks, and you get to practice just 2 things a week. And what I noticed was they were only practicing 1. And I said, after the 6 weeks, okay, we'll do a whole new 12, but we only do 1 a week. So what I found was that when they only had to practice 1 template a week, they were doing it and their lives were transforming. So it was quite extraordinary to witness this group of 12 or 15 people doing the work every day, but I only needed to speak to them once a week, and I would listen to how they were working with the template. And I'd say, okay, well, you could do this or do that, or I'd make adjustments for them. And that was more an adjustment for my teaching style, that I can't have any presumptions. I have to teach really from all perspectives. And the where I'm coming now in 2021 is I'll create all of those templates with the extra elements that Tash has brought in this year. So this is how we're co-creating. So we're putting 432 hertz music, which is the frequency of pure love.
Right.
We're putting my voice. We're putting a light code. We're putting a video. So it's all these dimensions all coming together.
And the AreekeerA vibration, like its own frequency.
It has its own frequency.
Right.
And I broadcast that frequency.
Okay. So this is all getting back to the same thing, is that, you know, frequency work, this is where we're all going. And my personal opinion is that if we basically clear and heal and bust through and get to a higher frequency, we will not be vulnerable to the lower frequency viruses or anything else that's going on. And that's just my particular take on it. But my question is, do you work with children that are coming in now who have been presented on Earth at a higher frequency?
We haven't brought in any children. We haven't attracted any children to our work yet, but I would love that.
Yeah, I would be thinking that, you know, they would, because they're all coming in at a different frequency, that they would have the capacity that what you're talking about, you know, to learn faster and to go, oh yeah, that makes total sense, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can take 12 in one day. You know?
That's right.
Give me more, you know. Kids are like that now, you know. But when I look back, and I would always say this, when I would look back at the frequency that I presented, you know, arriving onto planet Earth, I don't think I was barely spinning, you know, and of course the Earth was not either. And so now, because the Earth is spinning so fast, we're moving into the photon belt. We're doing of this complete different type of atmosphere that we're trying to handle. I think the more we talk about it, the more it's going to be commonplace where we do check frequency. We can check the frequency of our food, our music, our clothes, our location, you know, our bodies, whatever it is, you know, we can check the frequency of what our blood is doing and our sugar level and whatever else we need. I think that, you know, if we do recognize this as something that, you know, the masses are ready for, they need, they know how to direct it, use it for their best and highest good. I think when that particular tipping point arrives, we are really going to see some speed happen here.
That's right. Yeah. And look, it's even sped up a lot more this year than last year. And we have some clients that have younger children, and just hearing how they're interacting with I'm talking like 8-year-olds, 5-year-olds, those children. See, here's the thing, Kimla, our age, or I might be older than you.
Not by much. I'm probably older than you are.
We had to learn this stuff. Like as children, this just wasn't part of our realm of living on the planet. But I started when Tash was 7 months old. So this is Tash's first language. So we talk about first language, second language. If English is someone's second language, they had to learn that language. So you and I had to learn the language of spirituality and mediumship and channeling and all of that, because as children, that wasn't not only not talked about, it wasn't even a conception for most people on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas for Tash, and we're talking about her generation of people in their 30s, it's their first language, because the mums have been doing this stuff for their entire life. So they don't know any different. So now what's happened is there's this second generation that it's their first language. And so we've got like this second and third level within that 40-year bracket where it's inherent in their DNA. Like they have this knowing that we didn't have, that's why we're seeing the revolution that's sweeping around the world right now in the younger women in their 20s and 30s standing up and saying, enough, we're not going to live like this. And so it's because they are second and third generation in the spiritual way of living, which is, I think it's absolutely fabulous. And so
I do too.
Yeah.
Now, talking about languages, we are basically, light beings, and we're wrapped in this particular body at this particular time on this particular planet at this latitude and longitude. But there is something that is universal, and that is the universal light language. And I think now with your light codes coming in, Tash, and all of these frequency awareness vehicles and skills that we are now learning, we are all going to be on a universal note with this light language. And I think that, the quicker we all get there, the more we can participate in galactic activities. And, and really make a difference, not only for planet Earth, but also just being a participant in the galaxy and, not only our solar system, but also have a voice in the galaxy as well, instead of relying on the chosen few to kind of control us, So I think that's awesome. Now we're getting to the close of the show. This has been so delightful, and that's a nice deep conversation. How do people get a hold of you two?
So they can go to julieandtash.com. Easy as that. julieandtash.com.
Tash.com. And social media, what do you prefer? How can we friend you?
Just
Facebook.
Find us and friend us. Tash Lewin is my Facebook.
And
I have Tash.
I have Julie Lewin. My Facebook page is open, so may probably just send a little message and say I heard you on Kimla, and I don't accept friends from everyone, but if you send me a message, I always read it and accept. So, and I have.
Okay. So the password is Kimla. That'll get you in the door.
That'll get you.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, because of COVID and because of all this, quarantining that the whole world is under right now, the seminars and the get-togethers and all of this kind of thing is kind of put under wraps right now. Where are you in Australia at the moment? Are you still in quarantine, or where are you?
We just came out of a three-day lockdown in Brisbane, where I am, and we just have 2 weeks of wearing masks everywhere. So Australia is pretty good, in comparison. We're doing we don't have to deal with what other people have to deal with, but we still get our lockdown. So we're not really taking face-to-face clients. We're mostly working online, and we do that through Zoom.
Perfect. And I understand that it's a one-on-one. Is that correct? You work one-on-one with everyone?
So our current work is one-on-one. with people,
Perfect.
but we're currently in the process of finalizing and launching a membership so that we can take these light code clearings and things that we're doing and all these conversations that we're having and the wisdom that's coming through into a space that's more readily available to everybody, because working one-on-one with us is at the higher tier of cost, and so we want to make that available to people at a lower end of cost, and so we're currently doing the membership for that. So it will be lightcodelab.com when it's free, when it's available.
Perfect. I got to wrap up the show. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my Aussie ladies. I love you. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful new moon ahead in Aries. Okay.
Thank you.
Until next time, may the angels protect you and guide you. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.